Morning, welcome to 59 Minutes. My name is Levi Kones. It's wonderful to be here. It's Monday. We're discussing matters to do with politics and talking about the week that was. And joining me for that discussion is a gentleman who is a youth leader. His name is MAINA KAROBIA. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Levi, for welcoming me here.
Glad to have you here.
It has been long since I was in 59 Minutes.
It's been long.
But I'm happy to be here.
It's been long.
Yes.
Since the pandemic started, actually.
Yes. But I understand the dynamics that has been there, social distancing, working from home, but we hope God is going to be with us.
Okay.
Yes.
So since that time to now, politics has really taken a high gear. Tell me, from in your own perspective, the last 1 week or so, what has really stood out for you the most politically?
Politically, what has stood out is the issue of youth affairs has stood out. The issue of how leaders were banned last week from taking political rhetoric to churches.
Yeah, actually,
actually stood out. So, and I know it's going to be a paradigm shift on how we do our politics. Politicians will have to be creative enough on how they are going to sell their agenda to the citizens and how they move their campaigns. Because traditionally we have expected the church to be a fertile ground for political rhetoric. But I think the religious community has stood out, banned all political rhetoric from the church. Politicians will now be treated as normal worshippers in a church setup. So, and I think it's a progressive move for me. Yes.
Let's start with that declaration by the Archbishop of the Anglican Church.
Yes.
Jackson only Sapit.
Yes.
For a long time, people have been talking about church and politics, and the fact that politicians have seemingly taken over the church. And while that was happening, of course, it has not stopped politicians from going to churches across the divide.
Yes.
Every time they go there, once they're given the mic to speak, there's always, it's not just about religion and God.
Yes.
It's also about the other people and what they're doing and a job here and there. And a lot has been said about the politicians who left.
Yes.
I don't know whether they stormed out or maybe they say they had somewhere they were going. But at the same time, there are politicians in the country elsewhere, in churches.
Yes.
Do you welcome this as something all churches should do? Because churches are saying, some of them are saying, when a leader comes, he needs to be recognized.
Yes.
How do you balance the two?
You see, Levi, the church and the state are two twins of the society that can't be separated. We can't separate the church from giving moral guidance. We can't separate the state from giving political direction. So I think there should be a nexus of how these two pillars of the society should work together. I think for me, politicians should not be banned from the church or giving political direction per se in the church. What should be banned by the religious community is political rhetoric and political hypocrisy in church. But I think, you see, when do a politician interact with the citizens? It's only in a social gathering or a political rally. So I think the church or the religious community should find a nexus. When these politicians come to church, they give a guidance to the politician that when you come to our church, we will give you the mic, we will give you the platform to talk to the people, but you follow this guideline. For instance, if you look at how Musalia Mudavadi, Raila Odinga and Wetangula were behaving yesterday, for them, it was a political moment for them. And that's why you find when Archbishop Sapit made that declaration, because their political desire was not fulfilled, they just walked out. That tells you that these people are not in that mass or that service for attendance or to celebrate the new bishop.
Are they the only ones?
They are not the only ones.
See the DP go to the churches, and we know it's not just about church. It's also about greeting the people after.
Yes. But when he goes to the church, you barely hear him talking the way he would talk in a normal political rally. He always talk about peace. He will talk about the unity of our country. He will talk about the direction our country should be taken politically. But you will not hear him answer back his opponents, his political opponents. When he is in church, he will always talk about peace or the political direction of our country. But when he is outside, he will now talk as a politician, but at the church he will talk as the deputy president, as a national leader.
But why the need to? Because you see, like in the mosque, for example,
Yes,
no one's talking, no one's complaining.
yes.
When the politicians go there, they just worship and they leave.
You
What is
see,
it about the church that we, are so endearing to the political class?
you see, Levi, I will tell you this. The church and the political class are serving the same purpose. They are offering direction to the people.
So does the mosque.
People, yes, even the mosque.
But yet there,
Yes.
there's a big difference.
Even in mosque, they give chances to politicians to talk. It's only that today, let me tell you, if Uhuru Kenyatta or William Ruto goes to a mosque just to congregate with them or worship with them, they will be given a chance to talk. It's only that we rarely find our political environment is filled with Christian worshippers. If today you tell Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga or even William Ruto to go to worship in a mosque, they will be given a chance to address the people. It's only that we barely find them going to those mosques, so we can't have a chance of them. We can't have a chance to see them addressing the worshippers in the mosque. But I can tell you, the only opportunity that we have going forward is for the religious community to identify a nexus of how they will be handling the political class. They give them a guideline that when you come to our mosque or our church, follow this guideline when you are addressing the people. Talk about issues of peace. Talk about the political rights that people should have when they are voting for the people. Those basic things, or things that are progressive. For political rhetoric, let it be done in the rally. But for me, I wouldn't support the issue of the religious community shutting the door on politicians to talk to the people, because then it means that our people will have that religious direction, but they will lack what we would call the political guidance.
It's interesting you should say that, because you know what the Archbishop said. He said that he would like a situation where in the church you come there, we are going there to listen to the word of God.
Yes.
Let's listen to the word of God.
Yes.
Let's get out of church.
Yes.
If you want to do a meet and greet, a kamkunji, you want to say something, fanya inje.
Yes.
Would that be too much to ask? That you don't necessarily have to do it. In the confines of the church, we've all come for the purpose and agenda isn't to listen to a politician.
You see,
the agenda isn't to hear, about you, a politician talking about this or that or the other. Well, however good it may seem.
yes.
The purpose of the agenda is for all of us to focus and hear
The last time we heard
from the good Lord, isn't it?
Yes. The last time we had the separation of the church from the political class, we had disastrous outcomes.
No, I think actually, MAINA, the opposite happened. That is when the church would be able to question what the political class is doing.
But let me tell
When
you,
you are a politician,
Yes.
let me ask you, who comes to your church and you are a politician? Assuming I'm a bishop, you come to my church. I give you a chance to talk.
Yes.
You are bringing a fat, hefty, check. You're dropping something in the basket.
Yes.
I'll be endeared towards you.
Yes,
definitely.
But that doesn't mean
tomorrow will I be able to really speak with a heavy voice when you do something that is the contrary to morality, contrary to Christian upbringing, contrary actually even to the law of the land? Will I be able to have a voice?
You will. And let me tell you this. Levi. I come into your church offering, giving gifts and offerings, and even you praying for me, doesn't stop my political enemy or political opponent to come and do the same. And it is upon you as the religious father or religious leader to find the best person, not even to find the best person, to offer moral guidance to the people in terms of what they should choose from a leader. Not even taking aside, just giving a basic guidance to the people on the best leader they can choose, or the best issues they should address through a leader. Let me tell you this, Levi. When I come to church, there is always some consultations between the political class or the political leader who has attended the church and the church leadership. This church leadership, when they are consulting, they will always tell this leader, they will always give him or her the guidance in terms of their views on the political issues that are taking place. This guidance is what, as a politician, when you are addressing the congregation, you are going to find a middle ground or a compromise between what the church has told you and what you as a leader, as a personal opinion, should you believe in. So you will find a compromise in that. So for me, I think the church should not separate itself from politicians, because when they come together, they are going to find what is best for the. They are going to find the best interest for the people, and those consultations, talking to each other, is what is best, not talking at each other. So for me, I think the church or the religious community should find a middle ground between the moral guidance through the church and the political direction that the political class should give, so that we have a progressive society, a society that has leaders who consult each other at different levels of the society. Yes.
All right. Let me switch gears so we can discuss other things, because we need to fix in quite a few things.
Yes.
Although I don't completely agree with your statement. I think a lot of people out there
yes.
are quite appalled, because it seems it just entrenches the political class. You know, one of the people who famously talked about this was Beatrice Alach just last week.
Yes.
In another forum, she said, you know, that the former President Moi,
yes.
Late president now,
yes.
didn't politic in church.
Yes.
He had the decency to go to church and, you know, take his siasa outside,
yes.
you know, and would listen to the proceedings and would walk out. And it's not a bad thing for a politician to come and be fed. After all, politicians are always talking anyway.
Yes.
If in a few moments in a Christian setting at a service, they could also be given something they could also go and ponder about, it would be okay.
Yes.
That the desire for us to elevate politicians above everything else
yes.
is what actually you know, brings us down. That we cannot have a politician just in a setting who has come to mourn, for example, and they mourn and go away. We must make them speak. They must do a siasa. It's the same way we must do that in a church. We can't just say, oh, MAINA KAROBIA, MP for wherever is here. Unasalamia watu tu ya kuwave, tunaendelea na service.
Yes.
It wouldn't be too bad, would it?
It wouldn't be bad, but
you know,
it is in the whole book that we find Solomon. Not Solomon. Yes, Solomon building the temple for God.
Yeah, but he was a king.
Bible. Listen, it is in the same Bible. It is in the same Bible. We have Samuel, anointing David, anointing Saul. So we must find a nexus between the religious community and the political class, so that we can have a society or a nation that really consults.
Because you see, that brings some entitlement. For example,
yes.
the politicians the other day who were not given a chance to talk
yes.
and staged a walkout, if
yes.
they did,
yes.
because there are some saying that they did not do that.
Yes.
They kind of felt entitled. Because you see, kama nimetoa harambe, ya hii sherehe iendelee.
Yes.
You've come for my money, I've given you 400,000, 1 million or
yes.
something.
Yes.
And then I come there, then I don't talk. You see, there's a type of entitlement that comes along with that. There's an expectation now.
Do you know what that means?
There's
Do you know
an
what that
expectation.
means? Do you know what the walkout yesterday meant?
Yeah.
It meant the leaders who walked out, they lack what we would call emotional intelligence. They are the believers of what we would call capitalistic tendencies, that whatever I give must correspond with whatever.
It's not just
back.
them though, MAINA. I think if you look at it and you are honest to yourself, it's just
you.
about every leader we have.
Let me tell you, I'll give you an instance.
There's an expectation that people must talk.
Last week we were in Kenny. My brother Levi. Last week we were in Kenny. We had scheduled to go to have an inter-domination Harambee in Kenny. When it was stopped by the powers that be, we didn't say that we won't go to church or congregate in a church around that area. We went actually to a very humbling church built with mabati. We made our donation there. Our message was actually very objective and very constructive. Nothing political was discussed in that meeting. So let me tell you, the walkout yesterday meant...
One would argue that would be for the optics. That's PR. Which is part of the siasa anyway.
It is not PR.
One would argue that, you know, that you had to do that.
It is the same. It is the same script that you quoted that former president, the late Daniel Troy Moi, would just attend a church and move out, or after the church is done, he would move out without even addressing the congregation. It is the same script that we followed in Kenny. That indeed we have been told that we will not have that service, inter-domination service. What we shall now have is that the program has been shut down. But we decided the word of God cannot be stopped by humanly desires. So we went to a humble church, a Mabati-built church. We made our donation. We worshipped with the congregants and moved out. So it is the same script that Daniel Moi was using that we used that very day. I was also in another church in PCA. I will never forget that church. In PCA, Juja. William Ruto had been invited to celebrate the opening of the church. And he had built the church from the ground up to the top. The moderator, the senior moderator of the church, Julius Mwamba, actually made an announcement there and then that when I'm going to give them, I'll give the mic to the political class, but they should not make any political statement in this church. Believe you me or not, and you should go to that clip. Back in 2019, it is only William Ruto who made the statement or addressed the crowd. He was very brief. He made a clarion call of unity, the Big Four agenda and the Jubilee promises around that constituency of Juja, and we moved out and we went to another church and worshipped there. We didn't make any, let me tell you, walking out from a church after a declaration has been made by the religious leader means that the person who is walking out doesn't have what we would call emotional intelligence, lacks the patience.
But you see, MAINA, in that space in time, the very essence of church, and it's unfortunate we are still on it, but it seems quite interesting. The very essence of church is purely for the word of God. We're now not there for the Big Four agenda. We're now not there to hear about who's developing what where. We're not there now to hear about which road is being built where, no matter how nice that may sound. We're now here for one agenda and one agenda alone. And that agenda is to hear from the word of the Lord. So, given that agenda, all these other matters should be fading into the wind. We pick them up when we leave church. And we continue now. We say, okay, we were talking about this project X, project Y, and all that.
Do you know the business of, what is the business of God? Winning the souls of man.
Yes.
Right?
Are
you together? If the business of God is winning the soul of man, then it means God cannot subtract himself or separate himself from the affairs of man on earth. So that tells you, even God himself would want to know what is the earthly kingdom doing, because the political class is the earthly kingdom. What is the earthly kingdom doing? Is it righteous as I would want? If it is not righteous, I'm going to punish the political leader who is distracting my people from the right path of righteousness. So that's why I will tell you, even the politician has a religion or a moral authority to go to church and address the people, but address them on the right path. What I would analyze from Archbishop Olesapit and the Catholic Church and other religious leaders don't want is the political rhetoric, where I go and attack my political opponent on the pulpit. So for me, I think the church should come out clearly that they find a nexus between the religious leaders and the political class. So I think for me, going forward, the church has a moral authority to offer political direction to the people. They offered political direction in 2010 during the Katiba. They have been offering political direction during these handshake manenos, where we are finding.
And they have also been very separated.
There, where we have two different sectors of church where, you know, some members are pro this and others are against this, depending on
yes, but it has not
sometimes who's channeling what.
Yes, but
in
it
that
has,
direction.
Yes, but it has not been as direct. And as you'd call it, they have been finding loopholes in each and every side. And I think for me, they have been neutral enough not to say that we are supporting who and so, we are supporting so and so. They have been finding advantages in every side, and they have been trying to find a middle ground in every side. They have been trying to find a middle ground where citizens can converge and say, indeed, this is the right path to follow. For instance, for them to say that we need to respect the Court of Appeal ruling, I think that is a good statement from the church. For them to say that there is need for peace in our country after 2017 elections, I think that is a progressive statement from the church. So this is the role of the church in terms of offering direction to the people and being as neutral as possible when there is political divide in the country.
Okay.
Yes.
let's leave the church matters. I think next time we'll just call a pastor or a bishop here between us so we could delve into this matter more deeply with a man of the cloth. Huh?
Yes, yes.
One of the things that's coming out as we go along is, of course, people are on the campaign trail. We only have about 11 months to go to, an election. All focus is now on IEBC.
Yes.
Which has just got a new commissioners, but still does not have a substantive CEO.
Yes.
And Wafula Chebukati is coming up with a calendar of, the order of events before we get to the election. They're supposed to start the process of voter registration by October, they say.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
They will tell us if their KIMS kits are working and if, everything else is in order. You as a young person and in charge of youth, are you confident about the IEBC?
I'm very confident with the IEBC. They have commissioners. They have released even the timelines of electoral process. We also know the constitutional set date that the next elections will be on August 9th, 2022. So for me, in terms of preparation or in terms of objectives, IEBC is in place. The only issue that we would have is whether the executive arm of government is ready to cooperate, is ready to follow the constitutional set date of elections. They will be ready to set the
I don't
budget.
think that's in doubt. Nobody has brought it up in terms of...
it is in doubt.
It's not in doubt.
It is in doubt. When you have...
The president himself said recently, talking to us journalists, that he has never said that he would move the date of elections.
It is not the president who talks, let me tell you, Levy. In terms of government business, the people who talk are the friends of the president. If I am a friend to you, Levy,
so we dismiss his word and we take now, you say, the friends of the...
Let me tell you, as long as there is an imagination, as long as there is an idea being mooted somewhere that we can postpone next election, or as long as there is an imagination that we can suppress the democratic right of people through under budgeting the IEBC processes or the IEBC as an agency, then it means there are people who are going to steal our democracy. So for me, I would say this. We have a constitutionally set date of the next election, which is August 2022. The business of the state or the business of the executive arm of government is to facilitate the IEBC to offer credible, verifiable, and democratic elections next year. So for me, the business is that...
I want to talk to that about you and credible, verifiable elections. I want to come back and talk about that. As a young person, I want to get your perspective on what that truly means. We're speaking with MAINA KAROBIA as a youth leader allied to the UDA. We'll be right back after these messages.